Hello, and welcome back to Bold and Abroad. I had to go ahead and move inside. It started to rain, but I wanted to apologize for not posting in a while. Life has just been busy. My New Year's resolution was to be outside more, and I have been. And so that means that I haven't been able to post as often as I would like. But I guess figured out a routine, or I'm kind of in the groove of things. Hopefully I should be able to post a little bit more for you. So today's video is about visas and how can you get your temporary residential visa here in Merida, Mexico. Where is the easiest immigration attorney? Where should you go? How much you need to qualify? So I will cover all of that later in this video. I also wanted to talk about community. I've seen your questions and kind of questions I receive on Reddit about the community here in Merida, Mexico. And so I did just want to post a little, just kind of snippet of things that I've been doing since I decided to be outside more. So this first clip is a paint and twist that I went to here, featured by our resident Sonia. She's been over here, I think, for 11 years now. It is a multicultural event, so anyone and everyone here in Merida is welcome, and it is a wonderful time. The second clip here is a Galentine's event that I was invited to by Nay, who is wonderful. She put together this event for her close friends here in Merida, or women who have impacted her in some way. It was really nice to be able to get together and just kind of commune with other beautiful women and have space for one another. So I just wanted to post those clips to just say, yes, the community is here. We are outside. We have a good time. As of right now, we're getting together about twice, maybe sometimes even 3 times a month, just to show that we're here, right? And establish community and help people feel more at home. I'm going to be attending a backyard boogie event this Friday with me and my children. They're going to have like the spacewalks, and they're going to be cooking food, and they've got games like spades and Uno and all the stuff that you'd play back home. We pass around the cup, we tip the DJ, it feels like home here. And so if you're popping in to visit, please take a look at the Black Merida Facebook page or the Black Merida Experience on Instagram, just to kind of see what events we have going on and see if you could time your visit around then. So now the first visa that I want to talk about today is the temporary residential visa, and that is the visa that my children and I have. So this visa is going to start at the consulate in the US, and so you can pick whichever one is closest to you. With that being said, every consulate is not the same, so I want to put that out there before I get into this, especially once I start talking about income and numbers. You might look at the consulate near you and see that like the income requirements are super high. Breathe. Again, not every consulate is made the same. You will need an appointment, so definitely call or send an email to the consulate that you decide to get that appointment. Next thing you want to do is check the list of requirements. I'm going to add a clip for you here of the Phoenix, Arizona location, and I chose this location because, as I stated before, not every consulate is the same when it comes to finances. All right, so first thing you're gonna do is go online and find the nearest consulate to you or pick out one. My recommendation is the Mexican consulate in Washington, D.C. That is the one I went to, flew from Seattle to there, was literally in and out in like 30 to 45 minutes. So wonderful experience. The staff was super kind, friendly, and helpful, and I just can't recommend them enough. I have gone through this process twice, just because the first time I went, my visa expired because I went back home and there was no sense in renewing it because I wasn't planning on coming back. And then I decided to come back, so then I restarted the process over and I went to the Las Vegas Mexican consulate. I'm not saying it was a bad experience, because it wasn't. The lady, I feel like, just wasn't super friendly, kind of treated me like I was a criminal. And the only reason I think that she may have done that was because it was my second temporary residential visa stamp. And maybe she was concerned, and so she was just kind of very timid and running my background and passport and asking me all of these questions. And it was just an experience. So my recommendation, a lot of people I've seen said DC is a really good one. Atlanta, here's a really good one. Where else is a really good one? And then people do recommend Las Vegas. Again, my experience was my experience, but it doesn't sound like it's like that across the board. So at the Phoenix, Arizona consulate, what you will need, and kind of across the consulates, across the board, is a copy of your passport. Make a copy of that first and last page of your passport, 2 passport photos, and then the $48 visa fee. Next thing you want to do is make sure that you meet the income requirements to come to Mexico. So yes, you do have to meet income requirements. You cannot work in Mexico as a citizen of the US or any other country unless you are a Mexican citizen, or unless you're hired by like a company here and they provide a work visa for you. You are required to have your own form of income when you arrive. And this can look like the form of a remote job, freelance work, or investments or a retirement if you're a retiree. So next step is making sure that you meet the income requirements for the consulate that you are at. And that's why I said everyone is different. I saw a post in one of the Mexico expat groups that the percentages increased in January, and they did. I did some research to prove that. So now the income requirements are a little bit higher for people to live in Mexico. But when they made this post, everyone kind of freaked out and was like, oh my God, I don't qualify, because it was like $4,500 that you had to prove that you make a month. And I went in, did a little research and was like, hey guys, don't sweat. Every consulate is different. You can go to this consulate for less, right? And so far, the lowest income requirement that I have found is the Phoenix, Arizona consulate, which just says that you need to make 2,500 USD a month in order to qualify. So that is just kind of your regular income, monthly W-2 1099 employment. If you are a retiree and you want to use your investment accounts, it is 42,000 to 43,000 USD for the year that you need to show. And just so you can kind of see the difference, in Las Vegas, it's showing right now that you need 4,000 USD a month. That's what you need to show as your form of income, or $62,000 worth of investments in your account if you're a retiree. So that $2,500 at the Arizona consulate is just for one person. So if you are applying for a child or a spouse, you will also have to show an additional $844 per person if you want to apply that way. Now, let's say you don't have an extra $844 per person. What you can do is apply for just you at the consulate, and then complete family unity in Mexico and add any additional relatives that you may have. And I will talk a little bit more about that here soon. All right, so you've got your documents, your passport, your income. With that, you will also need a copy of your bank statements or check stubs, just kind of showing that like, hey, this is the amount that I make a month, or this is what I have for the year, and you'll bring that. And depending upon the consulate, you may have to bring proof that you either own your company or you have permission to work remote. I know the Las Vegas consulate did ask for proof of my business license so that they could see I had my own business. In DC, they did not, but double check that may have changed. But all they require were my bank statements, and then just kind of a document of what it is that I did. Once you have all these documents, you will make your way to the consulate and you will apply for the temporary residential visa via economic solvency. With that, then they will conduct like a short interview. In DC, it was a breeze. They just kind of asked, what kind of work do you do? How can you do this work from abroad? What is your purpose of going to Mexico? And my answer to that was just to like learn the language, spend time in the culture, and just enjoy being out there. That was it. It was like 3 questions. Printed out my visa, stamped it into my passport, and I was good to go. So once you've completed this process, you've got your stamp, you're gonna come on down to Mexico, and they are gonna stamp your passport for 30 days, and they're gonna put kanji in it, which basically means you have 30 days to get to the immigration place in Mexico and the city that you're in, and to finish out your temporary residential visa. So what I did at that time is, well, before I arrived, is I coordinated with an immigration attorney, and they just handled all of the legwork. So when I got here, I met with my immigration attorney. They took my passport that was stamped. They went and got me an appointment at the immigration center out here. And then after 2 weeks, I went to the appointment, and that was very simple. They didn't really like interview me or anything. The paperwork was already completed by my immigration attorney. I just handed it to them, and then they took my picture and then did my fingerprints, and that was that. And then for family unity as well, same with my children. So that is temporary residential visa for one person. Now, if you want to do family unity, let's say you have children, a spouse, and you didn't want to do this process in the US for whatever reason, you would still go through the process of, scheduling at the Mexican consulate, getting the primary person's passport stamped. You'll come into Mexico, meet the immigration attorney, and say you want family unity. And what they will do from there is they will take your children's passports and apply for family unity. And your children go through the same exact process. They come in, they get fingerprinted, they get their photo taken, and then you get a card with a residential visa. I wanted to mention that for your children, you will have to get their birth certificates apostilled. I think what that means is just like verified in the US. And so I just did this through the clerk of court's office. I just called and was like, hey, I need to get my children's birth certificates apostilled. They told me to come in. I paid the $20 a fee per birth certificate. They did that, just kind of saying like, hey, this is an authentic birth certificate. Took it down here to Mexico, gave it to the immigration attorney. Immigration attorney had to get this translated for me, and that was around 1,500 pesos, about $150. It translated it, and then we needed that for family unity. For temporary visa for 1 year is around 5,300 pesos, so around $250 to $275 dollars to be completed. And then the price increases from there. So you can do after that a second year, a third year, a fourth year. And so, for example, once this visa expires in May, I will go ahead and apply for a 3-year temporary residential visa. So I won't have to go back in 3 years. Every year. I could just go back in 3 years. And by that 4th year, I can apply for a permanent residential visa. Then if you want, again, to use an immigration attorney, then you'll have to pay for that. Now, you can do this yourself. I know there are YouTube videos of people who do it. People have gone in, and the people at the immigration, center out here in Mexico, or at least in Merida, are really kind, really patient. You can go in and navigate it. It was just easier for me to just pay somebody else to do it and have to deal with the hassle. In total, so for everything, for my temp visa, my children's temp visa, appointments, document inspection, everything was around 32,000 pesos. So that was around $1,500 in order to do the whole visa process. And it was a breeze. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really wasn't. Once you get past the Mexican consulate in the States, I handed everything over to the immigration attorney, and they took care of everything. And so I will redo this process again. It might be a little bit more, just because we're going to apply for the 3-year visa in May. But my immigration specialist did give us a little bit of a discount because of the amount of people. So that was really helpful. Again, you can do this process yourself. I know some people say, oh my God, that's a lot. You don't have to go with an immigration attorney. And then again, not every immigration attorney is made equally, so there are different prices out there. I'm happy to list mine down below if any of you are interested. Next visa is the RNE visa, which is the route that I probably would have taken had I known this was an option, but neither here nor there. I wouldn't have had to deal with the lady at the consulate. But RNE program was established back when COVID was here and people weren't leaving the country and people were overstaying their visas. The government created a quick expedited visa so that people could get, become residents here. This visa is pretty popular because it does not have an income requirement. You do not have to show any income in order to get this visa. All you have to do is overstay your visa. So basically you'll come into Mexico, you'll get a tourist visa, stamp, 180 days or whatever. You would come, you would have to overstay your visa. And then once you overstay your visa, you would go into the Mexican consulate and apply for the RNE program. Now, the caveat with this program is that you have had to have visited Mexico between a certain time. And so as of right now, it's December 31st, 2023 and beforehand. So if you've been to Mexico anytime before December 31st, 2023, you are eligible for this visa. Now, I think they said cruise ship visits do not apply, so you'd have had to just come on like a tourist visa, and you should be able to prove that with your passport. Now, with that being said, and I'll just kind of, put my glasses, definitely call an immigration attorney and see what your options are. Every year, this program is basically not guaranteed, is what they say, so we don't know if it'll be up next year. It may not. Every year they've kind of threatened to close it or say like it may not be here. But so far they've extended it. So I definitely encourage you to speak to an immigration attorney, even if you haven't visited, just because you never know, right? They may have at that point in time have moved it up a little bit, right? So it may be February, or something like that at that point in time. So definitely come in for a visit, contact an immigration attorney and see what your options are for this visa program. But very easy. You will have to pay a fine for overstaying your visa. You will still have to pay the visa fee, and you don't know if you'll get a year or the whole 4 years. And again, every year it increases. So if you're getting the 1-year temp visa, it's around $5,300. I think 2 years might be like 7 something, and so on and so forth. So just have to be prepared for all of those fees as well. My daughter just came and brought me a flower, so now I have to wear it. But hopefully you got what I was saying about the R&E program. There are plenty of options and ways to get a visa here. That's why I said I would talk to an immigration attorney to find out what your best course of action is. If you would like mine, or maybe one that was recommended a lot in groups, let me know and I can put their information in the comments down below. There are other visas, birthright citizenship. So if you are a woman and you plan on having a baby, or you're pregnant, you're gonna have a baby soon. I know plenty of women who have popped into Mexico, stayed for a month, had their baby, were taken care of, which was lovely. Nanny, doula, midwife, whole team in comfort and luxury for their recovery period. Then they went back to the US because maybe at the time they weren't ready to move here. And then they applied for citizenship, because I think if you do birthright citizenship, it's not just the baby. Mom also gets it. If you're married, your husband gets it. If you have other children, they get it, as well as like grandparents get it. Uncle, auntie, basically you can apply for the whole family at that point in time. So that is an option too. If you are planning on having a child or delivering a child. And again, lots of people have had wonderful experiences. I can list some recommendations if that's something that you're interested in. Maybe some that I pulled out of the groups. People have had great experiences here and have been really well taken care of by going that route. So let me know if you have any questions or comments, or if there's anything that you would like me to maybe explore a little bit further, or any research. Again, do some research on your own. Don't quote me. That's just some of the information that, again, I've gotten off of the websites, my own experience, and just talking to other people. But please do your due diligence and do your research. Moving forward, I plan on posting more content around the city, more events that I plan on attending, just again, so you all can kind of just get a feel of what it's like to live here, maybe some of my favorite restaurants, favorite malls to shop at, just places that maybe I recommend. I will also be doing another neighborhood tour and just kind of house hunting, just because if I do decide to stay here, we would be moving closer to the children's school. So I just want to see what my options are. And so I'll just share with you all what some of those options and neighborhoods are. I'll also be doing a tour of some other places in Mexico, because I am indecisive of whether or not we want to stay. I do want to go kind of pop in some other places to see if those are an option. So I will be going to spend the month of May in Cancun and in Playa del Carmen, just kind of seeing what it's like in the day-to-day life. Do I feel safe? Do I feel comfortable? I'm going to go tour some international schools in both places, and I will also film that. So if you've had any interest in living in Cancun and Playa del Carmen, you might get some good information out of that. And that will be for the month of May. Then in the month of June, I plan on popping on over to Thailand for a few weeks, just to see, I don't know, if that could be a long-term option for us as well. I know I'm kind of all over the place. I know one of my videos I talked about moving to Japan. I kind of annexed that plan just because I have my own business. I work from home. I work 45 hours a day. I could not give that up to go and move to Japan and teach English for 8 hours for not great pay. I know people do it and they love it, and hats off to them, but at this period of my life, I am in my soft girl era and I am trying to maintain that. So if you'd like more information on Thailand or just like Thailand videos or what it's like being a single parent moving to Thailand, please let me know and I can post a video on just like visas in Thailand. I have but looked into 2 Thai education schools out there that will help me get a visa. And so I'm going to apply for those just so I can have it. I'm also thinking of applying for the DTV visa, which again, I could post a separate video about that. I won't take up too much time on this video, but if that's something you're interested in, let me know and I can post a video about it.